Thanks for hanging around. Last week, teachers in some Clark County, Nevada schools had to have a talk with their 5th grade classes. It wasn't about academics, not reading, writing, arithmetic. No, the talk was about sexting. Yes, 5th graders, 10 and 11-year-olds, had to be admonished on the topic of sexting and its dangers. Why? Because some had been caught sexting each other on Facebook, where they're supposed to be at least 13 years old. Again, these are 10 and 11-year-olds. Look, I'm not naive. I know kids learn about sex at a younger age. I know they're surrounded by the marketing of sex, bombarded with sexual images on a daily basis. But there's a whole other problem here, isn't there? Well, first, why do these kids have cell phones to text with? They're 5th graders. What could they possibly need to have a cell phone for? If you need to get a hold of them, you call the school. If they need to get a hold of you, the school can call. So the only reason I can see is that for some reason, the parents feel the need that their kid has a cell phone before and after school. In other words, these kids aren't necessarily going home. I understand, childcare is expensive. During the school year, I spend around 10% of my take-home pay on childcare alone during the school year. So I understand the cost. I understand that many families need 2 incomes to make it. So I understand parents not being able to pick up kids after school or be home when they are. But I was one of those kids. I came home every day and I had to be there to answer the phone when my mom called. It took me about 45 minutes to walk home, so I had to hustle. It's not like I didn't get to play with friends or go to the pool, ride my bike around the neighborhood. No, I got to do all those things. But I came home first. So like I said, I'm understanding of the situation, but I think a lot of folks are allowing things like cell phones to take the place of responsibility for their kids. And I hear teachers complain about it as well. Since the ill-conceived No Child Left Behind Act, teachers have been spending way too much time teaching to tests, meaning the more advanced kids get to twiddle their thumbs while the other kids work on scoring well on the test. Last week, a school district in Washington, D.C. let go about 200 teachers for underperforming. The problem? 50% of their evaluation came from a single test score. I'm all for holding teachers accountable. It's necessary. I don't think a single standardized test is going to do it. So what does this have to do with parents? Well, a big problem with why schools are failing has to do with parents. Parents hold sway over school administrators, complaining whenever their kids get an unsatisfactory grade. Look, when I was a kid, you got a bad grade, you didn't want to go home. But more and more, I'm hearing of situations where the kid gets a bad grade and the parent comes in to blame it on the teacher. Well, they move the kid to a different class, ask for extensions on homework beyond the deadlines, ask for accommodations of every sort. And they get them, leaving the teachers wondering what exactly they're supposed to do. They're supposed to get these kids taught and have them pass these standardized tests. The kids get excused by their parents for their failure to do the work. Remember when you actually worried about passing to the next grade? Not anymore. No, kids are now no longer being held back. It might hurt their self-esteem. Did you catch that? It might hurt their self-esteem. Because, it doesn't hurt your self-esteem more when the other kids are smarter than you are, or can spell and read and you can't. They don't get held back anymore. I'll give you a guess where the whole self-esteem thing comes from. The parents. These are the same parents that have removed scoring from Little League games or soccer games. They're all winners. No, they're not. Some kids are not going to be the next Landon Donovan. They don't have the coordination, and that's okay. There are winners and losers in life. They'll be good at something else, I promise. It's not fair to them to give them a false sense of their abilities. It's also not fair to the kids who are good to not be able to celebrate it. And how are you supposed to teach sportsmanship and being a good winner if you don't even have the chance to win? Or to be a good loser? More importantly, the kids know who won or lost. Do we really think we're fooling them? course, this came from the parents. I'm sure it was well-meaning. No one wants their kid to feel bad. It's the wrong extreme. And so it is with not keeping kids back when it's warranted. If they're held back, it's for one of two reasons. They either are having learning problems, and they need some additional help and time to catch up, or they have behavioral problems that are causing them to miss work or not pay attention. Are there mitigating circumstances? Sure. Kids diagnosed with some level of problems such as dyslexia or ADHD can get accommodations and be put into plans that will help them get to where they need to be scholastically. So it's not like there isn't a way to help those kids who really need it. But the kid who goofs off in class, refuses to do the homework, and then lies to their parent about it, it's not something that needs accommodation. It's something the parent needs to deal with. Instead, many of these parents are putting the blame on the teacher, and they're shocked to find out their student has been lying to them. And even when they do find out, they try to mitigate the consequences for the kid. Well, what exactly is this teaching the kid? If you complain enough, you can slack off and not have to do what's expected? That the rules don't apply? Just wait. These parents will be shocked. Shocked, I say. When these kids have issues with authority in high school. They already know how the game is played. They'll work it. So the issue comes down to parents. Look, I'm not a perfect dad. I try. Maybe it was my upbringing. Maybe I'm old-fashioned about some things. These kids are getting away with stuff we never would have dreamed of. And the parents are acting as enablers. Maybe it takes too much of their time. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Either way, they're doing their kids a disservice by letting them off the hook. And the teachers, they get to deal with it. Now, sexting, that comes from a gap in supervision. Kids see this stuff. We as parents can have a strong influence on where they take it. Kids might learn about it, but with good supervision, asking questions and being involved with their kids, we reduce the chance that they make bad choices. You control whether they're on Facebook. What do you think? Should kids have cell phones? What age? Do you think parents are the problem? We'd like to find out. Leave us a note in the comments. If you're a teacher, we'd really like to hear from you especially. We want to hear what you think. We'll be right back.